Start NFL Live. Adam Schefter, we have a trade. Fill us in on the details.
Laura, a major trade between the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos that sends Jaylen Waddle to the Broncos, a team that have been looking out for him since the trade deadline last year. Denver gives up a first-round draft pick, the 30th overall pick in this year's draft, along with a fourth-round selection. And in return, the Broncos get back Waddle here. Draft pick swap. Jaylen Waddle becomes the newest weapon for Sean Payton and his offense. The Dolphins get back 3 picks in this particular trade, a 1, 3, and a 4, and the rebuild in Miami is underway here.
No one expected the Miami Dolphins to do this. Not now, not like this. Teams don't just walk away from a franchise quarterback, especially not one they've invested years into building around. And they definitely don't do it while taking on one of the biggest financial hits in recent NFL memory. But that's exactly what Miami did when they moved on from Tua Tagovailoa. This wasn't a quiet transition. It wasn't a gradual rebuild. It was a hard reset. The Dolphins didn't just change quarterbacks, they changed direction. They absorbed massive dead cap, reshaped their roster, and made it clear that whatever they had before wasn't enough. That alone would have been shocking, but what made it truly unexpected was who they chose next, Malik Willis.
Adam, this makes you, though, say, okay, on the Dolphins side of things, you talked about rebuild mode for them. Why go sign Malik Willis in free agency and then trade away his top target? He may be sitting there thinking, if he didn't know about this, what's going on?
Because you have to field a competitive team. And the new Dolphins general manager, John Eric Sullivan, came from Green Bay, and the new Packers, or the new Dolphins head coach, Jeff Hafley, came from Green Bay, and they want to start things over in their way. And Malik Willis gives them the ability to try to compete and try to stay competitive with the idea of somebody that they're comfortable with and that they believe in while they wait to build up that roster. And maybe Malik Willis does turn into their quarterback of the future, but if he doesn't, they certainly have enough draft picks that they could look to add an additional quarterback in the 2027 draft that is considered today to
a quarterback who, up to this point, had barely been given a real chance. A player most teams had already labeled as a backup. A name that wasn't even part of most off-season conversations. And suddenly, he's the guy. This move didn't come with hype. It didn't come with universal approval. In fact, most reactions were confusion. Analysts questioned it. Fans debated it. Some saw it as desperation. Others saw it as a gamble that could define the next decade of the franchise. Because when you step back, this decision says something much bigger. It says Miami didn't believe they were close. They weren't trying to tweak the system or make small improvements. They believed they needed something completely different. A different style, a different ceiling, a different type of quarterback. And that's where Malik Willis comes in.
Laura, a major trade between the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos that sends Jaylen Waddle to the Broncos, a team that have been looking out for him since the trade deadline last year. Denver gives up a first-round draft pick, the 30th overall pick in this year's draft, along with a fourth-round selection. And in return, the Broncos get back Waddle here. Draft pick swap. Jaylen Waddle becomes the newest weapon for Sean Payton and his offense. The Dolphins get back 3 picks in this particular trade, a 1, 3, and a 4, and the rebuild in Miami is underway here.
This is what makes the story so compelling. It's not just about a player getting a new opportunity. It's about a team betting everything on a version of the future that most people can't even see yet. There's no safety net here. No gradual transition, no fallback plan that anyone trusts, just a full reset. And at the center of it, a quarterback the league almost forgot about. At first glance, the decision doesn't make sense. When teams move on from a starting quarterback, they usually chase certainty, proven production, established names, players with years of film and consistency behind them. But Miami went in the opposite direction. They chose upside. Because if you look closely at Malik Willis, there's something there that doesn't show up in headlines. His NFL career hasn't been defined by volume. He hasn't had the luxury of starting seasons or building rhythm over time. Instead, he's been used in fragments, small sample sizes, limited opportunities. the kind of situation where most quarterbacks fade out quietly. But inside those limited moments, there are flashes. Efficiency that stands out, decision-making that looks cleaner than expected, and most importantly, a playing style that fits where the modern NFL is heading. He's mobile, not just in a scrambling sense, but in how he extends plays. He can turn broken situations into positive gains. He can move the pocket. He forces defenses to account for more than just the pass. And that changes everything. Because Miami isn't just looking for a quarterback, they're looking for flexibility, for unpredictability, for a system that can evolve instead of staying static. And Willis gives them that. There's also something else teams value more than they admit: untapped potential. A player who hasn't been fully explored yet. A quarterback who hasn't been defined by failure, but by lack of opportunity. That creates a different kind of gamble, one where the ceiling is unknown, not already capped. Miami isn't betting on what Willis has been. They're betting on what he could become with the right system, the right coaching, and most importantly, real responsibility. Because this is the first time he's not just filling in, he's the plan. And that shift alone can change everything for a quarterback. We've seen it before. Players written off early, labeled too soon, then placed in the right environment, and suddenly everything looks different. That's the bet Miami is making. Not on the version of Malik Willis the league thinks it knows, but on the version no one has seen yet. If you're going to take a risk at quarterback, everything around him matters. And in Miami's case, that's where things get complicated. Because this isn't a stable environment. It's not a playoff-ready roster waiting for a new leader to step in. It's something far more volatile.
This is not no Titanic. This is a rebuild. And Malik Washington was a signing of a player who you didn't overpay, even though everybody in the world wanted you to overpay. It's a respectable deal. He's a raw, unproven, unpolished product that you are going to have to polish up and hope that he doesn't get hurt. But you had no other option. Name the quarterback option that you were gonna get to inject hope into this fan base's bloodstream.
The Dolphins didn't just change quarterbacks, they reshaped the entire identity of the team. Key weapons are gone, familiar systems are gone. The structure that once supported players like Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle has been broken apart. What's left is a roster in transition, younger, less proven, and still searching for its identity. And right in the middle of that uncertainty is Malik Willis. This creates a very specific kind of situation, one that can go in completely opposite directions. On one side, this is the perfect setup for a breakout. There are no expectations, no pressure to immediately contend, no established hierarchy forcing him to fit into someone else's system. Miami can build around his strengths, adjust the offense to match his style, let him grow into the role without being compared to what came before. That freedom is powerful. But on the other side, it's dangerous. Because without strong support, even talented quarterbacks struggle. Without reliable weapons, without consistency, without structure, development can stall quickly. Mistakes get amplified, confidence gets tested, and what starts as opportunity can turn into instability. This is what makes the situation so unpredictable. Malik Willis isn't stepping into a finished system. He's stepping into something being built in real time. Every game will matter. Every performance will shape how this experiment is viewed, and every mistake will raise the same question: was this the right move? That's the tension behind this story. Because Miami hasn't created a safe environment, they've created a high-risk one. And for Malik Willis, this means one thing. This isn't just a chance to prove himself. It's a situation that will either accelerate his rise or expose every weakness at once. The moment Malik Willis signed that deal, everything changed. Because this isn't a backup role. This isn't a wait-your-turn situation. This is immediate responsibility, immediate expectations, immediate pressure. He's the starting quarterback. And in the NFL, that title comes with one brutal reality. You are either the future or you're being replaced.
You see a real leader. You want to know what that nobody's talking about? You're just looking at Malik. He's unproven, this and that. You want to know what I know he's going to be great. What area he's going to be great in?
What is that?
Incorporating the culture we've been begging for.
What culture is that?
Leading by example. Being somebody you can look at and say, he doing it, I'm going to do it.
So
he's doing it right, I'm going to do it right. He's going to lead by example. He going to be the right fix. He going to say the right words. He going to have the right attitude. He's going to move the right way. He going to take the right accountability.
What makes this situation even more intense is how uncertain Miami still seems. On paper, they've committed to Willis. The contract says belief, the opportunity says trust, but the noise around the team tells a different story. There are already discussions about drafting another quarterback, already conversations about long-term options, already questions about whether this is a bridge move rather than a final answer. And that creates a very specific kind of pressure, because Willis doesn't just have to play well, he has to prove something every single week, not just to fans, not just to analysts, but to the same organization that just handed him the keys. Every throw becomes a statement, every mistake becomes a headline, every game becomes part of a larger evaluation. Is he the guy or just part of the transition? And quarterbacks in this position don't get much time. The NFL doesn't wait. Teams don't pause. If there's doubt, they act fast. Draft picks come in, competition increases, opportunities shrink. So even though Malik Willis is starting, he's not secure. And that's what makes this story so compelling. Because we're not just watching a quarterback step into a role, we're watching someone fight to turn a temporary opportunity into something permanent. There's something unique about this situation.
They believe in while they wait to build up that roster. And maybe Malik Willis does turn into their quarterback of the future, but if he doesn't, they certainly have enough draft picks that they could look to add an additional quarterback in the 2027 draft that is considered today to be quarterback rich. So again, you can't throw away everything. You've got to field a team and you've got to try to win games, and they're trying to do that, but they felt the value here by getting 3 draft picks back in return for a player who was already being paid a lot of money, who's already been around for a little while, was worth the gamble for this team to take at this time.
The Dolphins are building for 2028, so this is the right decision for them.
For the first time in his career, Malik Willis isn't walking into expectations, he's walking into uncertainty. And that might be the biggest advantage he has, because breakout seasons don't always come from perfect conditions. They don't come from stacked rosters or championship pressure. More often, they come from moments where no one is watching too closely, where mistakes are allowed, where growth happens without constant comparison. That's exactly what Miami has created. The Dolphins aren't expected to dominate. They're not projected as contenders. There's no immediate Super Bowl pressure hanging over this team, and that changes how a quarterback develops. It creates space. Space to experiment, space to adjust, space to figure things out in real time without the weight of immediate failure defining everything. And for a player like Willis, that matters, because his game isn't built on rigid structure. It's built on movement, adaptability, playmaking outside the script, the kind of style that needs freedom to fully develop. In a high-pressure environment, that can get restricted. Coaches tighten systems, risks get reduced, creativity disappears. But here, it can grow. And that's why this situation is so interesting. Because while the roster might not look elite, the conditions might be perfect for something unexpected to happen. No expectations means no ceiling. No pressure means room to evolve. And sometimes that's exactly how surprise stars are created. The question is whether Malik Willis can take advantage of that window before it closes. This is where everything comes together, because what we're really watching isn't just a quarterback change, it's a moment of uncertainty that could go in any direction. Malik Willis has the traits, the mobility, the flashes of efficiency, the kind of upside that teams chase when they're willing to take risks. But the NFL doesn't reward potential, it rewards consistency. And that's the gap he has to close. We've seen stories like this before. Quarterbacks overlooked early, then suddenly breaking out when the opportunity finally matches their ability. But we've also seen the other side, where the moment arrives and it's just too much, too fast. And that's what makes this different, because this isn't a controlled situation. It's unstable, it's unpredictable, and it's happening in real time. There's no clear answer yet, only a question. Is this the beginning of a breakout story no one saw coming, or just another experiment that fades before it ever fully starts? The next few games won't just define Malik Willis, they'll define whether this gamble was worth it. And right now, the entire NFL is watching.